completed the previous chapter, and that was about the nervous system. And now we are going to start about another chapter today, and that one is about the receptors. It's the second part of coordination, that is called the receptors. And you know, we have discussed that all our five senses are our different receptors. So, but in our syllabus there is only two receptors are discussed in our syllabus. One receptor is skin, that you might have studied in the chapter of homeostasis, and the second one is the eye, that we are going to discuss the eye also. So we will be discussing the eye in two different parts today. And today I am going to draw the diagram on the board for you. And there is one part of that is the external structure of the eye, and other is the internal structure of eye. And external structure of eye, you can see here. This is the external structure of the eye, and in this is the eye that is normally visible. And whenever we see this one, it's this white portion you might have seen, it's very clearly seen. This is called sclera. And then comes another one, you can see here, it's called this portion, which is usually black. It's not necessary that it should always be black. Some people have it, it's actually the pigmented portion. Some people have this gray, some has green, so some has all different colors are present in this one. But the color of the iris depends on the amount of the pigment present in it. So this is known as iris. This part is called iris, and this region is known as pupil. This is called pupil. The iris is basically composed of the two types of the muscles, and these two types of muscles control the amount of light entering the eye. How much amount of light is entering the eye? So that one is controlled with the help of iris. We will discuss in detail about it. And you can see these are called the tear glands. And here you can also see this structure is called, this one is known as tear duct, and this tear duct is going to the nose. So what happens actually, the tear glands, whenever you look at the eye, you always see that our eye is always like watery. We feel it like there is some sort of water is present in eye. So the water keep on producing by the tear glands, and these tear glands keep the eye clean all the time. Then comes our eyes also covered with the eyelid. So you might have seen in our cars. So there are we are having in the cars, there is a screen, windscreen is there, and there are present the wipers are present. So just like the wipers, so these eyelids are also. So whenever the tear glands keep on producing the tear, and it wipe them like this. As the wipers are there, so they move like this, but they move like in this way. So they keep on cleaning every movement, and every time they are cleaning the eyes, and it should remain very clean and clear. So the vision should not be disturbed. So the tear glands are producing. The tear glands are producing the tear, which remain here, and then extra water after clearing the dust particle, it moves towards the tear duct, take that to nose. So this keep on moving towards it. Sometimes if something is falling in our eye, so more and more tears will be produced, and more, like sometimes the tears are coming from, if it's very like severe, so tears start coming out of that, and sometimes they start coming from the nose also. So we take a tissue and try to clean this also. So this is the external structure of eye. So there are some other like there is eyelashes are there, there's some special function. Another layer that is called conjunctiva is also there. So we will discuss, then I will explain this once again to you with the help of a diagram. So this part is the tear duct, and these are the tear glands. This is known as pupil. This is called, white portion is called sclera, and this one is known as, this is called the iris, and the central part is the pupil. Pupil is basically the place through which the light enters the eye. As the internal structure of eye is concerned, in the internal structure of eye, I have drawn just a few parts of that, so I could complete in front of you this portion. So this is the outer layer of the eye. As the internal structure of eye is composed of 3 layers. The one layer is called sclera. Other is known as choroid, and the third one is known as, it's called retina. So we will draw all these layers one by one in this diagram, and this one sclera, the sclera is basically the outermost layer, and the outermost layer is opaque as well. It does not allow the light to enter. But the front portion, this portion is, you can see this portion of the sclera, this is sclera and it's opaque. But front portion of this is known as, this region is known as, we call it cornea. The cornea is transparent. And if we draw the second layer of the eye, the second layer of the eye is called choroid. So this is the second layer. I'm going to draw this one with blue. So you can observe this is the choroid. You can observe the choroid here. Choroid has some very important functions. Choroid is responsible for providing nourishment to the eye. So this whole layer is called choroid. See, I'm going to color this one. When you draw the diagram, please try to color it also. So this one is known as, this is called the choroid. So choroid is also, I'll label it afterwards. So this portion is called choroid. So this region, this one is the this is all actually a circular part of that. So this is the choroid. This layer is called choroid. It's the choroid. So choroid has 2 very important functions. First of all, it is providing nourishment to the layer above it and a layer below. We'll draw a layer below this one also. So it's providing the nourishment. It is having the blood capillaries in it, and it provides the nourishment to that. And it also is responsible to prevent total internal reflection. If the light is entering, falling on it, and it absorbs the light, it will not let it to keep on reflecting in the different direction. So this layer is known as choroid. I'll label all of these layers again, and all these structures also. And this now I'm going to draw the other or the third layer of the eye. Look at this. This is the most important layer of the eye, and this layer of the eye is basically composed of all the neurons. It's basically composed of the neurons. Inside this layer, the neurons are present. Inside this particular layer, the neurons are present, and this one is the retina. So this layer, which I'm going to draw here with red colors, which should be prominent. So this one is known as retina, and retina is basically the sensitive layer. Actually, whatever the vision is formed, or whatever the image is formed, that image is formed on retina, and then there are present 2 types of neurons. Neurons are present, but we gave them special names. The neuron, they are called rods and cones. Rods and cones are the types of neuron which are making this retina, and retina is a sensitive layer. So here I have drawn this retina, you can see very clearly the retina I have made, and here also. So now if I label all these parts, and I'll also be making some other region in this one. So this one is called sclera, this is called the choroid, this layer is choroid, and this one is known as, this is called retina. This is called retina. And this portion is the front part of that, I have not labeled before, this is called, it's called cornea. And the choroid is also responsible. If you look at this, see, choroid is responsible for holding the lens. So this is the lens of the eye, of the human eye. This is the lens of the human eye, and it is the lens is supported by the muscles. So these muscles are holding the lens in its proper position. And there is a last part of that. I'll also draw. This region is called, look at this. This is called the iris. This is known as iris. So that iris is here, and here it's a different shape. So actually this is, both these shapes are equally important. So this one is known as iris, and this central part is known as, this is called the pupil. So if we label it now, these are called the ciliary muscles, and this is suspensory ligaments. This portion is called iris, and this is known as this is called pupil. And you can also observe there are two cavities are present in this one also. And one very important part, I'll also draw this portion. This is also very important. So this particular portion, which is here, is known as, it is called the optic nerve. That optic nerve is the region which is taking the message away from the eye. So this one is this is called optic nerve. And optic nerve to, it's optic nerve. Optic nerve, and it is taking the message to brain. This optic nerve is taking the message to brain, and optic nerve, you can see it's made up of, it's combined with actually these all are the neurons are making this layer, which is the retina is made up of large number of neurons. They are called rods and cones, and all the nerve endings then combine, and then they are formed in the form of the nerve. You know, a nerve is composed of large number of neurons. So two cavities are seen here. One cavity is here, this cavity, and another cavity is at this region. This one is known as, this is called vitreous. This is called vitreous chamber, and this one is known as aqueous. This is called vitreous chamber. The vitreous chamber is filled with vitreous humor, a liquid. And similarly, the aqueous chamber is also filled with a liquid, and that one is known as the aqueous humor. So this, it maintains the shape of eye, a pressure of the eye with the help of this liquid is maintained. And so now once again I'll be showing you the two different diagrams, a detailed diagram about the external structure of the eye and a detailed diagram about the internal structure of eye, in which the functions of all these parts are once again we will be discussing one by one. Okay, class C, this is the skull. You can observe the skull is the region where the eye is present. This is called orbit, in which the eye is present. So if we have a cross section of this, so we will observe that eye is like this. You can see that this is called cross section of eye, and these red color, all of these are called the rectus muscles. And this is the eye. You can see this is rectus muscle. So there are three pairs of the rectus muscles are there. We fix the eye in the orbit. And see, this is the optic nerve. See, this yellow portion. You can observe this yellow portion is called the optic nerve, and it takes the message to. And here you can also observe this is the sclera is visible, a little bit of the front portion that is called cornea is also visible in this. Okay, class, see, this is another figure of the eye, and it's still we are on the external structure, but this is more detailed. Definitely everything cannot be drawn on the board. So here you can see inside this, these are the eyelids are there, and you can also see the tear glands are there. So these tear glands produce the tears. So this you can also see this. These are the eyelashes are there, and here you can see this one is the iris. This is pupil is very clear, and another very clear portion here is the this part is called sclera. And above the sclera there is a membrane like structure is present on that, and that one is known as conjunctiva, and that conjunctiva is also providing the lubrication to the eye also, and it's a protective, and it continues with the skin of the eye. So all these different functions are also mentioned. I'll send you the picture of this also. So the tear gland, so there is a function of the tear gland is mentioned. There is the another one is the eyelid. The function of eyelids are mentioned here, and the functions of the conjunctiva are also mentioned in this one. Okay, class, this is internal structure of the eye. I'll also send the picture of this part to you, in which all the functions will also be explained. But you know that these all three layers, first of all, these are the rectus muscles. If you observe this, these are the rectus muscles which are present in this one. Rectus muscles are there, and you can see this is the outer layer, and this is known as sclera. There is an inner layer with blue color. I drew this one with blue also. So this one is known as the choroid, and this one is the retina with black color. You can see the retina is also drawn in this one. So retina continues in the form of this one, which is called the optic nerve. And you can also observe the lens is there. Lens, this one is lens. And pupil, this is iris, this is cornea, these are the eyelashes can also be seen here, and conjunctiva, and every layer. This diagram is similar diagram is given in the federal book also. And two very important points that the purpose to show you this diagram is this particular point and this particular point. This one, actually the image, when we will discuss about the functioning of eye, this region is known as yellow spot. It's called yellow spot, or it is also known as fovea, where the image is formed. Whatever the rays of light enter from this side, so they make the image over here. And this portion is known as blind spot. This portion, the blind spot, is the portion from where this one is going out of the eye. The optic nerve is going out of the eye. That one is known as that is called the blind spot. So this is internal structure of eye, and this internal structure of eye. This whole region. See, this is called region is called vitreous chamber, and filled with the fluid that is called the vitreous humor. This you can also see, this is called aqueous chamber, and the fluid is known as the aqueous humor. Yeah. Okay class, this was all about the anatomy of the eye, or external structure of the eye, internal structure of the eye. And today's homework is I'll be sending you, sharing a picture of the eye, internal structure of eye. So on one page you will just be drawing the picture of the eye with colors. This is very important that you're going to draw with colors. And on the second portion, on the second, there should be like on one page in front of the other page, you have to write down the functions of every part of the eye. There you have to write the function of cornea, and all those functions you have to pick from that particular figure which I will be sending you. So thank you very much class.